Fair warning to you, watching this video of haunted houses may keep you awake all night, so we recommend watching it with someone. If you consider yourself the bravest of the brave, then we urge you to watch this video from start to end. Was it a challenge to you? I bet it is, so keep watching. Throughout history, there has been thousands if not millions of haunted house stories and true events happening all over the world. As these stories are being passed from generation to generation, most of them still remain fresh, particularly those which are significant to the place's history and those which involve noteworthy people. Without further ado, we invite you to watch the real-life events happened in these houses and what made them haunted up to this day. If you really are that brave, today you can even book a stay or visit to these places and greet the ghost yourself. Sounds fair. We are starting right now. To go on with the list, we'll start with the one from Missouri. Due to its tragic history, the Lemp Mansion is known to be one of the most haunted houses in the United States. Located in St. Louis, Missouri, it is built by a successful brewery owner, William Lemp. The mansion is beautifully designed and is composed of 33 rooms. According to the St. Louis tax records, the house was built in 1890. William Lemp killed himself here in this house in 1904 shortly after his youngest son, Frederick, died. So much pain to this family that William's wife also died in this house due to cancer. There is something in the room where the old Lemp killed himself that it is the very room where William Lemp Jr. also shot himself there. It is said that William Jr. was so devastated to the death of his sister Elsa, and with the selling of the brewery he got himself shot at the very room his father also shot himself. Allegedly, another reason why his life is crushed is that his wife is spending almost all his money and spending it like leaves of trees. Adding to the list of tragedies in this mansion is the killing of the dog of Charles. Charles is William's third son. After killing the dog, Charles killed himself in his room. This happened in 1949, where in the same year this house is sold and made into a boarding house. There has been lots of occupants over the years. Most people who rented the rooms in the mansion experienced hauntings throughout their stay at the place. Renters and witnesses experienced frequent slamming of doors and windows and warm to burning ambiances. They complain about hearing footfalls all over the house with subsequent knocking of doors and walls. The entity of Monkey Face Boy, which is the son of William Jr., haunts the third floor, attic hallway and storage room, which many believed is still looking for attention. He had a Down syndrome and is kept from public all his life until he died. Paranormal experts one day set a toy in the attic and found out that the toy was displaced all of the time. People in the modern-day streets would see a boy with Down syndrome peeking out to the street. Guests and staff have heard him speaking, "Come play with me." Strange orbs can be seen in the stairways as well. Some running and kicking sound can be heard in this area of the mansion. Believed to be a servant running towards his master's room and kicked the door when he heard a gunshot. The paintings of people in this dining room seem to follow you around as you move. As of this day, the mansion is an inn and restaurant where they hold events every now and then. One of their famous events is the Murder Mystery Dinner. In its folklore, this house is still haunted by many spirits up to this day. The Missouri History Museum said that Life magazine listed it as one of the 9 most haunted houses in 1980. Next on the list is the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. In the evening of June 9, 1912, two guests of the daughter of Josiah and Sarah Moore visited their house for an overnight stay. The Moore couple has 4 children. On that night there are 8 people, much of a mystery to the town. In the early morning of June 10, 1912, the family and their 2 guests are found dead in their home. The blunt end of the axe was used to all victim but Josiah. The axe sharp edge has brutally smashed his face and the whole head, so much of a hate there is. Afterwards, the murderer returned to the master bedroom to inflict more blows on the elder Moores, knocking over a shoe that had filled with blood, before moving downstairs to the guest bedroom and killing Ina and Lena. Josiah acquired lots of blows that his face is unrecognizable and his eyes haven't found anymore. Investigator found to spent cigarettes in the attic where they concluded that the murderers patiently waited for the whole Moore family and guests to fall asleep. Investigators believe that all of the victims except for Lena Stillinger had been asleep when murdered. They thought that she was awake and tried to fight back, as she was found lying crosswise on the bed and with a defensive wound on her arm. The investigation reached several months and returned several suspects. Many possible suspects emerged, including Reverend George Kelly, Frank F. Jones, William Mansfield, Loving Mitchell, and Henry Lee Moore. One of those suspects is tried twice for the murders. The trial of the first suspect, George Kelly, resulted to a hung jury, while the second resulted to acquittal. Every transient and otherwise unaccounted for stranger was a suspect in the murders. One such suspect was a man named Andy Sawyer. No real evidence linked Sawyer to the crime, but his name came up often in grand jury testimonies. Sawyer was dismissed as a suspect in the case when officials learned that he could prove he had been in Osceola, Iowa, on the night of the murders. He had been arrested for vagrancy there, and the Osceola sheriff recalled putting him on a train at approximately 11 p.m. that evening. As the years go by, the investigation and the whole story of this event remained unsolved. Across the United States, this house is considered one of the most haunted. In present-day Iowa, lots of guests are drawn to visit the place for a whopping $400 per night. Most of the visits and tours are cut short because of the unexplained happenings inside the house, including moving furniture, moving ladders, falling lamps and glasses, children's voices, and some flying objects. As the modern day occurred, paranormal experts are delighted to investigate the house and see what they can find. Unfortunately, one of them got killed by allegedly stabbing himself during the night he stayed. A very unfortunate investigation. Next on the list is the Jean Harlow House in Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles is a famous city in the United States, home to Hollywood and its richest history. One of the haunted houses in this beautiful city is a perfect place for haunted house hunting. Jean Harlow House is a Bavarian-style house and is located in the well-known Beverly Hills. This is the former home to the iconic actress Jean Harlow and her husband Paul Byrne. Jean Harlow moved to this place by renting it back in 1930s. For 4 years, she lived there with her parents. She married Paul Byrne in this house's living room. But her marriage to Paul Byrne was a disaster. Byrne would beat her most of the time in the bathroom. These series of beating resulted to her kidneys damage. Jean would show what her husband did to her mother. Jean tried to make up with Paul, but he refuses every time. One day, Jean just heard that Paul shot himself in his home. But rumors said that this isn't a suicide, but a murder. Lots of suspicions pointed out to Paul's ex-girlfriend, but found her dead after jumping from a boat days later. After being told to leave this home by her parents, Jean Harlow built herself a new home, where she lived for a few years before dying from her damaged kidneys. In 1963, Sharon Tate, girlfriend of celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, bought the home and lived there until she left him for Roman Polanski. Both of them were murdered by the Charles Manson cult. Interestingly, Tate was the same age as Harlow when she passed. In the modern days, the occupants said to their friends that when the wife is sleeping at the master's bedroom, she saw a creepy little man. Most of the people who heard this story believed the ghost to be Paul Byrne's, having much paranormal happenings in the house. One day when she again saw the ghost, she ran out of the bedroom and saw a shadowy corpse in the hallway with its throat slit. Over the years, there are also reported that people died in the swimming pool. Lots of visual irregularities happen when the lights in the kitchen would go on and off by themselves. While walking through the living room, a cleaner saw a strange formless light in an outline form floating above her near the ceiling. People also hear heavy sobbing of a woman near the mailbox near the corner of the living room. Downstairs in the bathroom, people also would somewhat feel an uneasy feeling that will overcome your body. Sometimes a knocking on the front door can be heard, but no one is there. Talking about guarding your house forever. Strange things happen in people's homes every time. The past is full of mysteries. Sometimes ghosts and spirits stay where they want or have unfinished business to attend to, and a house is no exception. Spirits still occupy their past homes. How about you? What's in your home? Thanks for watching. If you want more scary stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, share the stories to your friends,